Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today we have a very special guest, author Sara DeLaVergne. Sara is an emerging fantasy author with an MFA in creative writing from Western Colorado University and a BFA from Franklin Pierce University. She has always been a reader and a storyteller of sorts. When she's not writing or reading, she's likely sniffing book-themed candles in a totally non-addictive sort of way, collecting custom Funko Pops, or being a dog mom. Welcome, Sara.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I need the link to that fan fiction, like ASAP.
Oh, actually, secret, that is a little Easter egg. The name of the fan fiction that I wrote is actually hidden somewhere inside Daughter of Shattered Skies.
Interesting.
So, Sara, is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself outside of that intro?
No, not particularly. I would have to get my one of my candles to sniff to get some there.
Okay, what's your favorite candle to sniff? I need to know.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
I actually have my favorite Briarwick Resand candle at my desk.
Because yes,
it's just therapeutic to feel like he's near and dear and, you know, calming with that.
Nice.
I would feel very safe for sure.
Mindy got me Morgan's candle for Christmas. Yeah.
She got
that one smells really good too. All of the Briarwick candles are fabulous.
Yeah, she gave me the Nesta one. It's right by my bed on my nightstand.
I'm sure your husband is thrilled.
Oh, he's like, that's so weird. Why do you do that?
Because it smells good and these are real people, damn it.
Well,
definitely.
So tell us a little bit about your journey towards becoming an author. How did you start writing stories? How old were you? All of that good stuff.
Well, I genuinely mean it when I say that I feel like I've been writing stories my entire life. I can think back to my family's first computer where we had this Crayola video game where I could, you know, those like sheets in kindergarten where you can draw a picture and then there's like the line that you can like write in your children's scribble about like, this is my dog. I would like make things like that and they would all be like different pages of a children's story book about like unicorns and like it was very My Little Pony-esque. But then once I got to like the reader's age, I actually started writing fan fictions with my friends and we would exchange binders where we would assume different characters.
That's awesome.
So like instead of passing notes in school, me and my friends would pass back and forth this binder where we would role play throughout the day. So we'd see each other at our lockers and like pass it off back and forth with each other.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, I kind of wish I had gone to school with you.
I know.
It was super fun. We hung out in the libraries on our lunches too, and we were honestly the best nerds ever.
What was the fan fiction you did with your friends first? Like, what was your first one?
I think we did a Harry Potter role play on a Pro Boards forum board way back in like circa like 2003 or something like that.
Wow.
But the one that we really kept going the longest was an original world that we all created together. So we all got together and we all made our own characters. And then we all took on the responsibility of making like a city in the world. And then we put it on a map and we all, you know, Dungeons and Dragons our way through it.
Wow, that is so cool. Now, are any of your friends that you did that with writers?
No, they are not actually. They all do a
Really?
bunch of different stuff from like graphic design to, you know, they're business people, they're business women.
Business women. Yeah.
Administrators, teachers, you know, we're all spread out, all doing different things, but I kind of never really let go of that whole creative journey that we started.
So tell us a little bit about your book, The Daughter of Shattered Skies. This is your debut novel, right?
Yes, it is. Daughter of Shattered Skies is it's a multi-POV epic adventure. I definitely take a lot of my inspiration from like roleplay video games and anime and manga that I read growing up. So I feel like it's really in that vein, but it does follow Princess Asaria as she flees from her kingdom. It's a corrupted kingdom, and she is trying to get to unlikely allies across a desert of glass, where she is hoping to break a curse that is dividing her world between day and night.
Cool. And is it YA? Is it new adult? What genre is it in?
I would consider it new adult. There is some strong language and adult themes. However, there is no heavy smut or spice in this book.
Will there be in subsequent books? Is that your plan?
Perhaps I may have written what I would like to think is a delightful scene between two characters that everybody seems to really want to see something happen between.
Cool.
That
Well,
was,
if you need beta readers, me and Whitney are really good at that.
I might, because it was actually my first scene, if you will. And I am a little nervous, honestly, knowing that that's going to go out into the world. I'm like, ooh.
I told Scarlett St. Clair at a signing that if she did if she did like a Google sign up, that I would sign up to get those scenes just to like practice them and make sure that they like make sense. You know what I mean?
Noted. In which case, I might be hitting you guys up for some beta reads, because
you got to make sure it's realistic, right? Like,
right? Right? Like, I think it reads well, but I also wrote it and then went back and I was like, yes, okay, this tracks
works
really
for
well.
me.
And then I walked away from the scene and I haven't been back since. So we'll find out when I go through edits.
So I will say, I think Whitney is the sweetest one out of the three of us, but she's the horniest.
For sure.
She really,
You know what? It's always the sweetest that go that
know,
way.
it really
Everybody
is.
says I look like a librarian, but when they find out what I'm actually reading,
this past weekend, my father-in-law was like, "Can you show me how to get to your podcast? I'd love to listen
No,
to it." And
it's
I was
brilliant.
like, "No, you do not.
absolutely not.
You do not want to listen."
So Mindy and Whitney don't even know this story yet. So my husband and I did like a weekend trip a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to Emily McIntyre book. And do you know who she is? She writes
Yes, I
like
do.
all of those retellings, and she gets pretty explicit. And normally I listen in my headphones. My husband knows what I listen to, like, you know, it's no big deal. But it came on, and it was a scene like, sorry, Sarah, in advance. It said something like painting the walls of her vagina with this
Whoa.
cum or something. And my husband looked at me and he goes, "Deborah, is that what you're listening to?"
Yes, it is.
It's normally that. But I mean, Emily McIntyre can write some good scenes, but I didn't love that visual all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been the sheathed velvet all over again. So.
Velvet wrapped steel.
Yeah, exactly.
So on the flip side, what kinds of stories do you like to read?
What don't I like to read? Honestly, pretty much everything. I do tend to stick in the sci-fi fantasy area primarily. It is my bread and butter. I do like to experience the other authors and the other stories and things like that. I really liked the Jade City series. Greenbone Saga was awesome. Obviously, I'm a Sarah J. Maas fan. From Blood and Ash, also another really good one. I'm also a huge Brandon Sanderson fan, and I have to give a shout out to my friend Jason, who is the one who introduced me to Sanderson a couple of years ago. I know, literally a couple of years ago. And in that time, I have read pretty much everything that man has written. So thanks, Jason. Super appreciate it. Huge fangirl that you created over here.
Nice. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot about him lately. So is there a specific book you would recommend that we should read by him?
Is it going to be your first experience reading Brandon Sanderson?
Yes. Yeah.
Then yes, I would tell you to start exactly where Jason had me start. It's a story called Elantris, and it is primarily a standalone. There is a small short story that comes along afterwards, but it's kind of disjointed from it, so you don't have to read it if you don't want to. But it is a standalone series, which he doesn't tend to do too many standalones. So it's a good way to experience his writing style, which is, how shall I say, a lot. So it gives you a good like taste test to see if you think you can handle a larger series, because he's definitely one of those authors that when he creates a fantasy world, he goes big or goes home and then he drops you in from the sky and lets you figure it out when you hit the ground.
Gosh,
There is zero explanation in his worlds, a lot of world building, a lot of fantasy, and it really asks you to hit the ground running every single time.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that heads up too, though, because sometimes you're reading it and you're like, why am I not understanding this? When I read Crescent City, it was like that because she had all those characters and I was like, what the fuck are these? Like,
Yep.
what's in
Crescent City definitely went in that Sanderson route where she just expected you to pick up the pieces and figure it out along the way, which, I mean, if you've been a fan of SJM for a long time, you know that, Crescent City and the urban atmosphere is not what we're used to for her. So we went from like swords and knights and magic to cities and skyscrapers and cell phones. And I was like, whoa, what just happened real quick?
At Imaginarium, we'll have to talk timeline of those 3 series because I have a theory that I'm still standing behind very heavily. So,
I've got some theories myself, so I cannot wait to
bring
meet
your
you guys
binder,
in
girl.
person.
We'll switch
you know.
binders in between panels.
Right? Spoiler alerts. We obviously can't say it here, but we've got some theories.
We always say our podcast is spoiler heavy. We can't keep it together enough to not have spoilers.
No, there's
Well,
no
once
way.
you've read, you got to find out what other people are thinking. And, you know, you can't do that without being like, oh my God, that one moment where everything hit the fan.
Yeah.
Right.
So because you do love Sarah J. Maas so much and Brandon Sanderson and that world building, do you think you take some of that into your writing as well? Like are you a world builder like that?
I am. I 100% am. That was actually, I guess it's something that my readers really like, but it's also something that took a lot of people by surprise, I think. I do go heavy with the world building. It is one of those stories where I do try and do the Sanderson route where I drop you in and I ask you to hit the ground running because I'm coming at you with a lot of high concepts. That's why I think it is a new adult book, because I think if somebody who's like 13 or 14 picks this up, they're going to be like, cool, I might get through it, but at the same time, there's a lot going on and I don't know if my teenage brain can handle it. But at the same time, someone who's like 19 or 20 and is a more experienced reader was probably going to pick this up and be like, oh, this feels a lot like that video game I played or like that book I read. So I'm kind of hoping that I hit that more adult adolescent vein.
That's awesome. Cool. I can't wait to read this. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Awesome.
So-
I'm excited to hear that.
If you've listened to the podcast, you know, obviously we talk a lot about books, but we also talk about other nerdy fandoms and nerdy things that we love. So we wanted to know what kind of nerdy things or fandoms you are a part of, which obviously is Sarah J. Maas.
Definitely. I'm a huge fan of Sailor Moon. That's probably the fandom that I've been a part of the longest. I actually have a huge collection of Sailor Moon wands and like little Funko Pops and
I love
all their
it.
transformation things. Anything that I can get my hands on that's Sailor Moon, I will grab it. Also Disney. I'm a big Disney girl. I grew up in the 90s, so I have, you know, super unrealistic expectations about my hair and about the men I'm going to meet.
Yeah, me too. Disney
But
too.
really, honestly, I think a better question would be, what am I not a fan of? Because I'm definitely one of those people where when I find something that I really like, I tend to latch onto it and then absorb it into my personality.
I think all people that love fandoms do that though. Like you get obsessed with these things.
Yes.
And
It's like one of my favorite things about being a nerd is that there are no bounds to, you know, the end of your love for your passions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's a really good way to put
That
that.
is a really good way. We need that on a mug or something.
I know, right?
Like a
Trademark.
Quote.
So now we're going to do a couple of different speed rounds. And the first one is the nerdy and dirty speed round. So I'm just going to give you some prompts, and we would love for you to not think about it and just first thing that comes into your mind, answer.
Okay.
So favorite beverage?
Gin and ginger with cranberry, a little bit of cranberry in there.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, that sounds
sounds
right
really
up my
good.
alley.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Favorite fandom?
Sailor Moon.
Most binge-worthy TV?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, I've never watched that. A lot of people say-
Ooh,
should watch it.
seriously, you're gonna have to watch that because not only is that really good, but then Legend of Korra also takes that world and gives it a whole, I'm gonna call it a facelift because it goes through a whole new revolution of society. So really good.
I'll have to look into it more. Guilty pleasure.
Smut books.
Yeah, girl.
Me too. Book character you'd get nerdy and or dirty with.
Reese.
Mhm.
Reese, and I would get dirty with Reese. So
Get in line.
Yeah.
right.
Who is your book boyfriend or bestie?
Reese, and he's my book boyfriend. Sorry, he's gonna be my answer for like everything. I have nothing
That's
else.
okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. Who is your book girlfriend or bestie?
Ooh. Lara from Bridge Kingdom.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Smut or plot? Smut or plot?
Plot. Always plot. I love me some smut, but it's not worth it if there's no good storyline.
It's true.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree. Favorite childhood book?
Ooh, Little Prince. Yeah, Little Prince. I read that one a lot, and then I read it again in high school, and it gave it a whole different meaning. And it's definitely one that stuck with me.
I have a friend who's the same way. She loves that book.
It's really profound, actually. And I totally buy it for all my friends who are now purposely having children. So it's definitely one of those books that I buy as like a gift for their kids as well. I know they won't read it while they're like infantile, but it's good by the time they hit like 5 or 6.
And then lastly, favorite cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Ooh, yeah, that's
Ooh,
a good
good
one. Okay, so we're gonna go into this or that nerdy edition. Same rules.
All right.
Physical book or ebook?
Physical book.
Read a book or listen to a book?
Read a book.
Supernatural or Stranger Things?
Supernatural.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Under
Dean
comfy blanket?
Winchester all the way.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we say this on every time someone says they love Dean. Is our notes are hanging from a 6-foot cutout of Dean Winchester behind the screen right there. So we gaze at
So
him
next time you
lovingly.
guys have me over, I'm just gonna leave the house with that. It's okay.
Someone stole mine from a con one
Yeah,
time.
we went to a
No,
con.
they
someone
didn't.
stole hers.
I was
Yes, they
joking.
did.
I would never actually steal from you.
I know, right? Okay, would you rather be under a comfy blanket or poolside?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Seasonally speaking, I'm going into springtime and summer. I'm feeling like I want to say poolside, but either way, I need to have a book with me.
Yeah, that's
For
right.
sure.
Fantasy or mystery?
Fantasy.
Touch her and die trope or second chance romance?
Touch her and die.
You already answered this, but Sam girl or Dean girl?
Dean.
Cosplay or people watch?
Cosplay. I would love to cosplay. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
any good at it, but I would do it.
Here's the thing, if you do it, you're good at it. That's
Yeah.
what I always say. You put
Yeah,
yourself
that's true,
out
because
there,
it
right?
takes courage and honestly a lot of creativity to create the costumes that they create.
It does, yeah. So Darkling or Mal?
Is that really a question? Darkling. Come on, you guys.
Thank you.
Come on.
Lee Bardugo didn't know, so we have to ask.
Oh, she knew. She knew. She just had a plot that she was very dedicated to from the
That's true.
start. And when
Yeah.
it started to go in a different direction, she was like, no, I'm going to stay true.
Yeah. So Whitney text messages me because I read those first, and she goes, "Am I supposed to have a thing for the Darkling?"
Yes,
I
you
said we
are.
all do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Whoops.
right, whoopsies. Who done it or paranormal thriller?
Paranormal thriller.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal or The Rock?
Pedro Pascal, for sure. Hands down.
Okay, for the record, you changed the
I was gonna say, yeah.
question because it was hot or not Pedro Pascal, and she knew if she put him up against The Rock, everyone would have to say Pedro Pascal. You sneaky bitch.
You know what I did? At first I did Pedro Pascal or Ben Barnes. And then I was like, oh, no one can
Ooh.
pick Pedro.
Oh, don't do Pedro dirty like that,
You're
because
not
that's
allowed
not
to change the
fair.
questions on me. But I'm like a good little podcaster. I was just reading along. Okay, beach read or epic romance?
Epic romance.
6 of Crows or Ninth House?
6 of Crows.
Star Wars or Marvel?
Marvel.
Twilight movies or Twilight books?
Neither.
Oh, nice.
For the record, I did read all of the Twilight books, and I also watched all of the movies, so I can say neither with pride and knowledge. So I experienced it. It just really wasn't for me in the end.
Okay. So
An
you,
informed choice.
right, of course.
Right? I made an informed choice. However, if you ask like 14, 15-year-old Sarah, it would have been Twilight books because the Twilight movies didn't exist. And at that point, I didn't have taste.
Also,
They're
well,
did you see they're
those
redoing
movies
them?
also blue. So
Yeah. Did you see they're trying to redo them? They're trying.
no, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You
I don't
know,
know.
I'm
We'll see how it goes.
I
Yeah.
have thoughts
Hasn't been
about the
long
whole
enough.
redoing Harry Potter and the whole thoughts about redoing Twilight thing. I think it's too soon on both accounts.
I
do-
agree.
Way too soon.
I don't think they should touch Harry Potter for 100 years, to be honest, because
Right?
it was too good the
It's
way it was
too
done.
iconic.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Twilight, they could fix some shit, like for
They-
sure.
They could
but-
fix a lot of that, but
yeah. Like if he could just not sparkle, that would be great. Okay, so we're going to see you at Imaginarium Book Festival, and like all the authors we really have fun with, we're like, let's go drinking. So apparently we're going drinking with a bunch of people. So you need
Yes.
to come with us. So hopefully we get to hang out with you. But what other projects or events do you have going on this year?
Absolutely. I'm actually trying to set up a reading at a local bookstore here in New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire, by the way. I'm talking to a small indie bookstore about doing a reading there this summer.
Cool.
I also have a couple of podcast things coming up. Most recently on, I think, June 5th, I'm going to be interviewing with Morgan Gauthier, who is another author from Imaginarium.
We actually interviewed her. She's awesome.
Yay, I'm so excited. She actually is my table mate for Imaginarium. So we had a great conversation. I read her book. Her book is awesome. I'm super excited to be sharing a table with her.
Yeah, she's fun. Yeah. We talked a lot about like YA, staying in YA, and like she had some really good points. And I do agree, especially being a mom of kids that age. But she is just brilliant, just a very, very smart woman.
Oh yeah, she's super smart, really fun to talk to as well. So when she invited me on her podcast, I was again jumping at the bit for the chance.
Yeah, be sure to ping us whenever that comes out so we can repost it.
Definitely. I think we're recording that sometime in June, and she said it would be out sometime over the summer. So I'll have more information on that after.
Awesome. Can't wait.
What is the best way that we can support you as an author and like in promoting your books or whatever what's the best way we can do that?
Honestly, recommending my books to your friends and family. If you can't afford them, obviously I am available on Kindle Unlimited. I do try and refresh that as often as I possibly can because it is definitely a good percentage of my income.
KU is a great way to get introduced to new authors too.
Definitely. Kindle Unlimited. And then obviously if you can purchase my books, that always helps. And then really just recommending them to friends and family because the more people that I can put my book in their hands, the happier I am.
Where can we find you online?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as at Silver Quill Sara. That's Silver Quill is one word, Sara, Sara. And then silverquillsara.com. I try and keep my website semi-updated, but I am an independent author, so it is all me all the time. So honestly, Instagram is probably the best place to get at me if you would like to get in touch with me, especially for DMs. I do have a lot of them, but I do try and respond to everybody who does send me one at some point in time. So you might wait a couple of days, but I'm never going to ignore you.
So finally, for a final question, our nerdiest thing of the week. So something that we did or even said or happened to us. So we would love to hear what your nerdiest thing of the week is.
Oh, my nerdiest thing of the week is that my best friend is here and we actually just went and saw Dungeons and Dragons like a couple of
I heard it was so good. My husband
It was so funny.
Awesome.
I laughed like the entire time.
Where is your best friend visiting from?
She lives in Connecticut.
Not too far.
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut, so I moved up to New Hampshire, and every couple of months she'll come and stay with me for a couple of days, and we'll just try and get in as much nerdy stuff as we can. We play video games, we watch anime, we go out to the movies, eat sushi, generally have a good time.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not allowed to move away from each other. Well, thank you for being on the podcast today, Sara. It's been really great to talk to you, and we're really excited to see you in person and get to hang hopefully a little more.
I'm super excited too. It was awesome talking with you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
All right, we'll see you like in a few weeks. Actually,
right? Literally, just a couple of weeks, and I'll be seeing you guys in person.
All right, can't wait. All right,
awesome. Have a good night, you guys. Thank you again.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye.